Pujaris. He said if they Frontline had me help the van.
Oh, okay.
We drove them off to the hills. But also one time Prabhupada said, if somebody walks by and they don't know anything about this place, and then they see the flower gardens, they go, this is beautiful. Those flowers are beautiful.
Everything.
So you did the Pujaris just
Yeah.
help this person to glorify Krishna.
Yeah, they're all frontline workers. Hardwani Mataji, the Pujaris. Just see the love. That's why I like this spiritual family of mine, because I'm learning how to love Krishna from my God brothers and God sisters. So, Prabhu, if you'd be kind enough to do the Sanskrit. I didn't know which verse we were doing today.
Super. So you prepared on a different verse?
Well, no, I came in late to class yesterday, and Yogi did a verse, but I thought he was speaking extemporaneously. He was really on fire yesterday, wasn't he? Yogi was raging against the Raj. The way the Mughals and the British abused the subcontinent. I guess Yogendra Vandana Das has been reading Stephen Knapp's books.
Yeah. He has a book about?
Srinandanandana, he has a book, how the atrocities against India, like that. I don't even want to speak some of them before the deities. It's very unpalatable. It's so sad. But this is the nature of the age. So Prabhupada is constantly reminding us about the pathopsychology of material consciousness. And of course the acharyas are always reminding us about the various miseries of this world. They keep pounding it into our heads. And Yogi was helping us to remember some of the atrocities against the Vaishnavas. I mean, all over. Yes, okay. Okay. Yes, sure. So you're ready. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Nahrotamam.
Naram Chaiva Nahrotamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tojayam Udirayet.
Tojayam Udirayet.
Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nastaprayeshu avadreshu
Nastaprayeshu avadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya
Bhagavat Yuttama Shloke
Bhagavat Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki.
By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, text number 17. Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramatta.
Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramatta.
Karmani ayam tvad budite pavadachane swe.
Karmani ayam paditi pavadachane.
Yastavadasya balavaniha
Yastavadasya balavaniha jivitasham.
Sadhyaschintati anime shaya namostu stutasmai.
Sadyaschinnatyanangansaya namostu tasmai.
Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramatta.
Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramatta.
Karmani ayam tvarudite bhavadachane swe.
Karmanyanam tvarudate bhavad archane swe.
Yastavadasya balavaniha jivitasam.
Yastavadasya balavanhi jivitasham.
Satyaschinnati animishaya namostute tasmai.
Sadyaschinnati animashaya namostu tasmai.
Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramatta.
Loko vikarma nirita kushale pramatta.
Karmani ayam tvadudite bhavatachane swe.
Karmanyam tvadate bhavad archane swe.
Yastavadasya balavaniha jivitasam.
Yastavadasya balavani jivitasham.
Sadyaschinnati animishaya namostu tasmai.
Sadyaschinnati animishaya namostu.
You know, I'd just like to say that Prabhupada would do one word at a time, especially if we have guests here that don't know, just, you know, so, you know, just in all humility, I'm asking please in the future just do one word and then do the whole line, because it's more difficult for old people and young people.
You want to try it? Give it a shot.
Oh, I'll give it a shot. Loko vikarma nirita kushale pramatta.
Loko karma nirata kushale pramatta.
Karmaniyam tvadudite bhavat archane sve.
Karmanyam tvarudite bhavad archane swe.
Yastavadasya balavaniha jivitasam.
Jastavadasya balavani jivitasham.
Sajaschinati animishaya namostu tasmai.
Sadyaschinnati animishaya namostu tasmai.
Loko varma nirate kusale parmate.
Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramatta.
Karmani yayam ete uti te bhagavad arkini se.
Karmanyam tvadudite bhavad archane swe.
Yes tarva asya balavan heha jivatasam.
Yastavadasya balavani jivitasham.
Sadhya chinati anvinsyasa namostu tasme.
Sadyaschinnati animishaya namostu tasmai. Thank you very much. Thank you, Prabhu. Loka, people in general.
People in general.
Vikarma,
Vikarma.
work without sense.
Work without
Nirata,
Nirata.
engaged in.
Engaging.
Kushale,
Kusale.
in beneficial activity.
In a beneficial activity.
Pramata,
Pramata.
negligent.
Negligent.
Karmani,
Karmani.
inactivity.
Inactivity.
Ayam,
Ayam.
this.
This.
Twat,
To.
by you.
By you.
Udite,
Odite.
enunciated.
Inansi.
Bhavat,
Bhavat.
of you.
Of you.
Archane,
Archine.
in worship.
In worship.
Sway,
Say.
their own.
Their own.
Ya,
Yo.
who,
Who.
Tavat,
Tavat.
as long as.
And
Asya,
Asya.
of the people in general.
The people of general.
Balavan,
Malvan.
very strong.
Very strong.
Iha,
Iha.
this.
This.
Jivita, Jivita Asham, struggle for existence. Sadhya, directly. Janati is cut to pieces. Animishaya, by the eternal time. Nama, my obeisances. Astu, let there be. Tasmai, unto him. Thank you. Translation. People in general all engage in foolish acts, not in the really beneficial activities enunciated directly by you for their guidance. As long as their tendency for foolish work remains powerful, all their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces. I therefore offer my obeisances unto him who acts as eternal time. People in general all engage in foolish acts.
People in general all engage in foolish acts.
Not in the really beneficial activities.
Not in the really beneficial activities.
Enunciated directly by you. For their guidance. As long as their tendency for foolish work remains powerful, all their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces. I therefore offer my obeisances unto him who acts as eternal time. Purport. People in general are all engaged in senseless work. They are systematically unmindful of the real beneficial work, which is the devotional service of the Lord, technically called the Archana regulations. The Archana regulations are directly instructed by the Lord in the Narada Pancharatra and are strictly followed by the intelligent men who know well that the highest perfectional goal of life is to reach Lord Vishnu, who is the root of the tree called the cosmic manifestation. Also, in the Bhagavatam and in Bhagavad Gita, such regulative activities are clearly mentioned. Foolish people do not know that their self-interest is in realization of Vishnu. The Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, texts 30 through 32 says, Matirna Krishne Paratasvato Va Mito Vipadita Grihavrtam Adantago Vir Vichitam Tamishram Punash Charita Charvananam Natividu Swartakatim Hi Vishnum Durashaya Je Bahir Artam Manina Andaj Tandayar Upaniyamanas Tepisha Tantram Uru Dhamni Bhadha Naishamatis Tava Uru Kramam Green Sprisha Tinartha Pogama Jad Arta Mahi Jasham Pararajo Vishekam Nishkinchananam Na Vrinita Javat. Persons who are determined to totally rot in false material happiness cannot become Krishna-minded either by instructions from teachers, by self-realization, or by parliamentary discussions. They are dragged by the unbridled senses into the darkest region of ignorance, and thus they madly engage in what is called chud. Because of their foolish activities, they are unaware that the ultimate goal of life is to achieve Vishnu, the Lord of the cosmic manifestation. And so their struggle for existence is in the wrong direction of material civilization, which is under the material energy. They are led by similar foolish persons, just as one blind man is led by another blind man, and both fall in the ditch. Such foolish men cannot be attracted toward the activities of the Supreme Powerful, who is actually the neutralizing measure for their foolish activities, unless and until they have the good sense to be guided by the great souls who are completely freed from material attachment. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord asks everyone to give up all other occupational duties and absolutely engage in archana activities or in pleasing the Lord. But almost no one is attracted to such archana activity. Everyone is more or less attracted by activities which are conditions of rebellion against the Supreme Lord. The systems of Gyan and Yoga are also indirectly rebellious acts against the Lord. There is no auspicious activity except Archana of the Lord. Gyan and Yoga are sometimes accepted within the purview of Archana when the ultimate aim is Vishnu and not otherwise. The conclusion is that only the devotees of the Lord are bona fide human beings eligible for salvation. Others are vainly struggling for existence without any actual benefit. People in general all engage in foolish acts, not in the really beneficial activities enunciated directly by you for their guidance. As long as their tendency for foolish work remains powerful, all their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces. I therefore offer my obeisances unto him who acts as eternal time. Om Jnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shilakaya Chakshuru Militam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachanam Pangum Langaya Tegirim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Guru Dina Tara. All glories to Shri Guru, the wish-yielding tree of love for Krishna, whose manifestation is so astonishing. With the nice moonbeams of his knowledge, he destroyed the deep darkness of ignorance in my heart. He is the abode of bliss for the eyes. Seeing this fallen soul, he gave me the holy names, which are coveted by everyone, although I did not even ask for them. I am fallen and helpless, and my intelligence is totally corrupt. I do not even have a drop of pious merit. He instructed me in the treasure of the worship of the divine couple, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, in Vrindavan, by showering me with the spotless prem ras, which is given by Lord Gauranga. He fulfilled all my desires. Vaishnav Das weeps, I did not attain loving attachment to the lotus feet of my Guru Dev. So in Prahlad's prayers, we see Lord Brahma, he's praying for creative energy, and it's just like in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj, which Prabhupada quotes here in this purport. And in that, those purports of Srila Prabhupada, he discusses various addictions of the living entities within this world. But what did we discuss the other day? Why are people addicted? Everyone's addicted to something. We all have our addictions. Sometimes when I take the Mahaladu from the tray, I say, oh, we all have our addictions. Yeah, and the devotees have their addictions to service. And the karmis, or the fruitive workers, they have their addictions. What are these addictions? What are they trying to do? I think before you came, Shaman, we said we defined addiction. How do you define addiction? We say it's an aggravated state of dependency to fulfill the emptiness of being an orphan. We all have empty hearts if we don't have Krishna filling our heart. Suhrit, that friend. Prabhupada speaks repeatedly about the meaning of suhrit. It means a very good friend. Krishna is a very good friend within, directing us to him. And if we come to him, if we bypass all the bogus processes of so-called self-realization and come to Jnanam Japa Jagyosmi, if we come to this Archana process, if we're chanting Hare Krishna, if we're worshiping the deities, oh, we become so fortunate. I remember before becoming a devotee, I was looking at all these books about yoga. And I would see these yogis, they're like this. And I would think to myself, what are they experiencing? What are they seeing? What are they doing? So I went out, I actively pursued self-realization. And you know what they had me do? They had me poke my eyes and poke my ears like this. And turn my tongue back, by the way. And do little breathing exercises. So they said, to attain real knowledge, you must do like this. And then what did they do? The yogis drill the breath. Kundalinis do the same thing. This one bogus fellow, he came with a long beard, looking like a real yogi, and he would tell people, it's very secret. This mantra I'm giving you is very secret. Don't tell anybody. And so he would give them a one-syllable mantra like this, Aim. And you had to say, Aing, 15 minutes twice a day. What kind of bogus process is this? If Krishna is just one part of our life, it's not bhakti. If we have our life and then we have Krishna, that's not bhakti. If we have our religion and then Krishna, or if we just go to church on Sundays and then we lead our lives, that's not bhakti. So Prabhupada, he said one of the magic things he does is he doesn't cheat anybody. We were addicted to so many things. What are the people addicted to? One time, I do a prison ministry, so I was talking to the wife of one of my inmates. He's in jail, she's out of jail. We're talking about how to benefit her husband. And she said, you know, I have an addiction. I said, oh, well, I'll try to help you with that. What's your addiction? And she said, I do stress shopping. You know, you go online, you pump in search and Amazon. Oh, I need those yogi pants or whatever people are looking for. That bucket would really be good in my kitchen. And they just can't wait until it arrives in the truck. And they can't even remember what they ordered. They just love seeing the box. It's like Christmas every day. Stress shopping. I'm so foolish. Where is that? What else are people attracted to or addicted to? I'm so foolish. They're addicted to oversleeping, overeating. They're addicted to drugs. All these things to fill the heart because they're feeling empty. Prabhupada said the face is the index of the mind. Have you ever seen someone who's an addict, right? Very, the features are very dull. You can see their suffering. And so I had some notes, Prabhupada. Nothing reflects a sad life more than the body, right? Because the health deteriorates. Prabhupada said, I hope this letter meets you in good health. Because without good health, then we can't serve properly. Why is addiction so powerful? What are people afraid of in life? Why are their hearts so empty? Because they're in a state of rebellion. Krishna said, if you want, Prabhupada says the father tries to talk the son out of leaving. Don't leave. This is your place here. The son said, no, I have to go, father. And he leaves. And so Krishna said, if you want, I'll give you a whole universe. If you want to be independent. And that was our first birth in the material world, as Lord Brahma, to see. Now we have a 4 billion miles. It's described that this cosmos is 4 billion miles. So now we have a 4 billion mile prison to try to get out of. The need of the spirit soul is he wants to get out of the covered walls of the greater universe. He wants to see the free light in the spirit. That complete freedom is achieved when he meets the complete spirit, the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. That's the emptiness in our hearts. Because it's an incompatible situation. We're souls. We expect eternality. My parents got married in 1947. It was forever. They're walking down the steps of the church. People are throwing rice. Forever married. My dad passed away. My mother passed away. And where are they now? Family life like a hotel. We were talking about that before. And everybody wants happiness that doesn't go up and down. Right? They're attached to drugs, addicted to drugs. They go up and then they go low.
Yeah.
We want, in Krishna consciousness, we want to go up. Because there's no limit to the happiness in associating with Krishna. There's no upper limit. It keeps getting more and more fresh and expansive and interesting. Where does love for Krishna begin? With some attention. Attention to the holy names, attention to dressing the deities. Were you showing attention to Krishna and Radha this morning when you were addressing them? Yes, because we can see that. There's a big tulsi leaf on Krishna's ankle. Huh? All the flowers around Radharani's sweet face. I was looking around thinking, she's very pleased with the way Krishna is dressed this morning. She's very happy. It's very nice. And I was thinking how Prabhupada brings all kinds of different people, and he manages his different centers. He has pujaris, he has cooks. There are book distributors. The boys are out there doing, boys and girls are out there doing books. And so in this way, we're trying to combat the rebellious mood of the living entity. We have a causeless reluctance to serve Krishna. It's rather fascinating, this pathopsychology of the rebellious living entities. People want relief. They want a sense of peace. That's why they're addicted to these things. You want a sense of control and calmness. It's the same thing you get when you chant mantra. Man means mind. Tra means to deliver. So we deliver the mind from all these material vrittis, all these material thoughts, right? We're chanting, the thoughts are coming, but with practice, we start to hear better, and then the thoughts are just a non-issue, and we are focused on Krishna. Oh, I was thinking morphine and alcohol, heroin, all these things, codeine, they're all painkillers. So why is there pain in their hearts? So they're looking to. I was talking to a boy yesterday. He says, I have to deal with all kinds of people. He's out of prison. He's on the streets. He's almost homeless. He's thinking, I'm thinking of killing myself. I'm in pain, and his mind is a little crazy. So, I said, don't try to be more clever than Krishna. I said, this suicide is murder. It's self-murder. So there's severe karmic reaction for doing such a thing. So people are looking for oblivion. They're looking for oblivion in drugs and forgetfulness. They try to escape their own minds. Shopping, consumers, eating.
Watching baseball.
Yeah, sports. Thank you. Sports. Prabhupada would cry. So many frivolous activities. Golfing, watching sports. I mean, right? We talked about it before. What's soccer? Kicking the ball. Goes out of bounds. Oh, got to kick the ball some more. Kick the ball. Goes out of bounds. Kick the ball. It's such a boring sport. They're wasting their time. They're just looking for some distractions in the prison yard. In the prison yard, they have some basketball courts and weights, and sometimes, depending on the prison, they're allowed to play baseball. And so people are just looking for distractions. How can I waste my time? Prabhupada, the Acharyas would teach us that time is so precious. If you forget Krishna for a moment, that can't be replaced. You can't buy back that wasted time with any amount of money. It's so valuable. I had this one prisoner, he wrote me. I just got this letter, and he's just received Prabhupada's books. I just wanted to give you an idea of what Prabhupada's doing in and out of prisons. He says, it may interest you to know that the more I read, the more I'm inclined to believe that Vedic literature or Vedic knowledge is the way to find real happiness, the happiness that comes from knowing Krishna. The information provided by the Vedas profoundly informs us that we living entities are entangled in the illusory energy and trapped into this material existence due to our forgetfulness of our constitutional position. I think he's been reading from.
Was he in jail?
Oh, I've never asked. I've never asked. My techno man, the guy that does all my techno stuff, he's in Texas, and he was in jail for 22 years. He went to jail when he was 17. He just got out, and he went in for murder, but he never murdered anybody. Nobody says he did. The DA says it doesn't say it. The judge doesn't say it. What happened was, somehow or other, he had a roommate. The roommate killed somebody in his house, and he returned from wherever he was, at the store, what have you, and was engaged in a cover-up, never mentioned it, or whatever. You're a 17-year-old kid, you're afraid, you don't know what to do. Calling the cops doesn't make any sense to you in this moment of panic. And so Texas law means that you spend you also go to jail for murder. He got 30 years and the other guy got 50 years. Just imagine that. He was initiated in prison. He's attracted to Lord Nrsingadev. His initiated name is Rakta Singha Das, servant of the bloodline. A living entity is instructed to be mindful of our position, which is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that we can free ourselves from material bondage and discover that true happiness that's dormant within. He says, as stated in previous correspondence, I am so grateful for this information and knowledge. I have learned more in 7 months than I have in 33 years of affiliation with Christianity. It may also interest you to know I've learned that during the missing years of Jesus' life, he was traveling in the East, studying and absorbing Eastern religions and culture. The evidence suggests that Christ Jesus was Krishna conscious, and that the Supreme Absolute Truth was the basis of his teachings when he returned to Palestine to begin his ministry. Jesus told those Jews which believed on him, if you continue in my word, then ye are my disciple indeed. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So I've been recently studying, so I'm fully persuaded that Krishna is the only way to be saved from this material existence. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Yeah.
So for 35 years I've been getting letters like this. And no one should be neglected. For the government, the prisoners are just as important as the college students, because they're citizens, and they should be rehabilitated. That's the purpose of the cosmos and of prison and of sadhana bhakti, the sarchana process. It's the devotee who's coming closer to Krishna, Prabhupada says, lives with a thrill at every moment. Krishna says, I am victory and I am adventure. Anybody have any questions or comments or criticism? You have a criticism, Mata?
Your class is so good, it's excellent, I always like it. What you just talked about today reflects some of the stuff you said. That's that baby Shushma over there. I'm just drilling him every day. Why in the world are you here? You came from a country which has lots of money, because I've been there, I've seen other places. Usually people, they want money, this and that. He won't tell me. Finally, he revealed it yesterday. He said, this is what he said, I won't tell everybody what he said. He said, it's not about money, the culture over there, those people, how they look down on the Indians.
Oh.
So bad.
Oh, yes.
He witnessed from his childhood.
Yes.
And he said, I don't have to go through what my parents went through.
From his
father
childhood.
almost got killed by those Muslims.
Oh, yeah.
See, I can relate to that because I
Yeah.
come from a country like
Yeah.
that too. So it was just phenomenal. He's only 20 years old, and his brother really went to India. He doesn't want to come back, so he went there and he came here. And I'm worried about his poor mother. My oldest son went here, my second son went there. What will happen to this? But I told him, he's very lucky in a sense. He came through the system. The immigration office people, they don't let young people from any country to come, because they did that to me too. So they will think that they come, they're never going to go back, which they are right. So they kind of talk to him. I don't know what happened between them. He forgot to top his paperwork.
Krishna.
So he's like, he didn't know what to do. His first time, he said, I'm coming here, I'm just taking this, that, all. So he came, and the guy just let him. I thought, maybe that guy must be drunk the night before. What? We don't know,
No, it's Suhrit. It's the friend in the heart.
And then I said, you come here, you think you got freedom? You're going to be here for 10 years straight. Yeah. I'm like, telling him all this stuff. And he's like, but this will be a good one. You're going to learn everything about Prabhupada, Krishna, and everything. He knows some, but he's willing to learn. And look what Krishna arranges for him, like that, Straight away it could be something else, a young person,
It's nice to have a mother.
Not really. I was just talking to him. I just couldn't understand why you care.
It's a wonderful consciousness to see all women as mother. The
But he's like,
sun likes to
everybody
give
every
protection.
time Just talk to him about Krishna consciousness. Very willing to learn everything. You know, he's a baby and all this. So.
I heard that in Kuwait they treat the Indians like, they're supposed to be serving, or like working, but they're very abusive.
Yeah, he saw that the whole life. He said, I want to live like that. So he tried to come out and see something else.
They come
Yeah.
across as real cultured people.
You think white people are the people who abuse, but I've been like persecuted where I've lived in different places because I'm white.
Oh,
Oh, sure.
Yeah, like Hawaii, if you go to swim at a beach, you have to know which beach to go to, because if the locals see you, oh my God, they'll beat you up. In India, of course, I'm Malacha. I'm not allowed. When I was in Vrindavan in '76, I was going to different temples. Some gentleman joined me. We were having a wonderful time. And then we walked into the South Indian temple. I think it's Ranganath temple. And we walked up, and they said, "No, you can't enter." And the gentleman was shocked, and he was angry. He said, "What are you doing?" Just like Prabhupada said to the devotees in Puri, he said, they're purely serving Krishna. Why don't you allow them entrance? And we had very powerful arguments. But the custom is intact, I'm afraid. So everybody's busy persecuting somebody else because of their nationality or the color of their skin or whatever. Prabhupada said, under Chaitanya's banner, we have the United Nations of Krishna consciousness. This was very nice because wherever I go, no matter what people look like, we're all family. It's very nice to see. It's nice to see young people coming through our movement. We're old. We could die at any moment.
another thing I would like to
Yes,
say
Mata.
about what you said
Yes.
about being honest or not a cheater. Prabhupada was
Yeah.
very strict about that,
Yes.
you know, by not cheat and being dishonest. And sometimes devotees do this and not realizing they're doing that. But I ran into a little thing with someone yesterday, and we talked about this. It involves money, honesty, and words. So I was telling this person, and it's a lot of money is involved in this, what we're doing. So I said, more than money is your word is important.
Mm.
If you said, I'm going to do this, you got to do it. Not to come at the end of the story and say, oh, my wife don't want to do it, my son doesn't want to do it. You should have said all that earlier. So be careful, you know, when your words, you already given your words and you already finished doing all the stuff, you cannot come back up.
Yes, Prabhupada actually creates integrity in the hearts of his followers. So when you have a class of men who have integrity, who have a brain, real Brahmins, who are honest, that's a solace for the rest of society. Then they can look up to the leaders of society. So Prabhupada was asked, why did you come here? I've come here to give you a brain, a Brahminical class. So we all have to, instead of being immature Kanishas, we have to come up to the Brahminical platform and act like Brahmins. And there's no lying in a Brahmin, and there's forgiveness in a Brahmin, by the way, which is the culmination of tolerance. You're forgiving. It's very hard to be forgiving in some cases, but we have to do it. We have to practice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's good that you said that.
So we have to wash the altar of our hearts with tears of surrender, and then invite Radha Radhakanta to come there and to be there in our hearts and offer them garlands of Prem Nam Bhajan. What do you think? Yeah. One time, an enthusiastic devotee came to Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, when I chant, I see colors. Prabhupada said, oh, keep chanting, it'll go away. One time somebody came to Prabhupada with some problems, and Prabhupada said, in this regard, I ask you to tolerate him as I tolerate you.
This one story Borjan Prabhu tells, and he was with Prabhupada, maybe 1969, 1970, the movement was just starting to get more and more. Prior to that, it was more like a family. There was a few disciples. Prabhupada had a direct relationship with him. So then, devotees were writing a lot to Prabhupada. And so this one devotee wrote, he said, I am such an insignificant, smaller than the smallest, just a particle, of this useless little bug, but I have this really big problem. It's just like, I'm small, but I have a big problem. It's that big problem. So Prabhupada said, I wish I could have more time to spend with each one of my disciples. And he does that, actually. Because everyone in this movement, he's the founder of Charya, he's the Shiksha Guru. So he's in every one of us heart. Anyone who surrenders to this process, you can turn to Prabhupada and he'll be there. Right in this, you can open up a book, you have a question, all of a sudden, boom, it's there, perfect. Something like that. Turn on a tape. How do you do that?
Prabhupada said, I'm the only son of my Guru Maharaj, all others daughters.
Daughters.
They stay at home. They stay at home.
Ah.
The son goes out to do the business of the father. Prabhupada said, if there's not a great struggle, opposition, how can there be a glorious victory? Like Juhu. Like Juhu. After Prabhupada signed the conveyance and he got the land legally, no one could tell us to leave. He said, he sat back and he said it was a good fight. Somebody should write a book. How many pages? Like 700 pages. Such a good fight. If you don't read this book, you're cheating yourself. I tell everybody, please read this book. Please read this book. In this book, there's one episode where the Mr. Nair's hooligans came to dismantle our makeshift temple and drive us away. We knew if we kept that makeshift temple, we had a legal right, a legal technicality. They couldn't drive us away because there was an established building of some sort. So the hooligans came and were dismantling things, and they had blow torches to do the rebar, the steel bars, break it down. And there were some of Nair's supporters sitting across the street in this Gothic-style home, like an old haunted house. And Mr. Rani, he was laughing as the devotees were fighting against these fellows, and the blowtorches were trying to burn it down. So Jashoda, one of the devotees, who was an older Mataji, she was like a mystic yogini of some sort. And she said, as you are laughing that the temple is being burned, you will also burn. And soon after that, he contracted cancer. And his pain was so intense that one morning, the devotees, after having a Mangal Arati for the deities, they heard screaming. And there was Mr. Rani running down the street on fire, just a ball of flames. He had poured gasoline over himself and lit it. Just the... One time, in an airport, the devotees were making a big commotion. Prabhupada was leaving, so there was no security. Everybody walked out with Prabhupada to the departure area and were taking up the whole scene, all the seats, and making a commotion. So Rupanuga saw this, and he stood up on the chair and he made an announcement. All devotees, leave the departure area. Prabhupada started. Not you, Srila Prabhupada. No, it's, okay. It's all devotees. I'm just a servant. Someone asked Prabhupada, if there's a God, why doesn't he show himself? Prabhupada said he does.